Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
What's going on? How y'all doing on this Sunday afternoon? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and this is my review of this past Friday night's edition of Friday Night SmackDown. It took place again this past Friday, June 28th, 2024, at Madison Square Garden in New York City. We're going to talk about, probably briefly, this show. I don't have really too much to say. It had some stuff progressing forward to Money in the Bank. We had 3 more qualifying matches, so all the SmackDown stars are have their spots for Money in the Bank. Raw will finish up tomorrow night with their final spots as well, which will probably be Drew McIntyre for the men, and for the women, I'm drawing a blank and can't remember who was in that women's match. We'll find out, of course, when we get to that on tomorrow. But of course, I will not be reviewing Raw and SmackDown this week, as it is a pay-per-view week, so I will just do the Money in the Bank preview and predictions. Not sure when I will get to watch Money in the Bank, though, because I am going to a Pirate game next Saturday night, so I don't know when I'll get to watch Money in the Bank. Maybe when I get back, I'll try to catch up a little. I don't know, we'll see. We had some, of course, build forward towards the Bloodline's 6-man tag match, which, what they did on the show, I mean, the closing segment for sure by far was the best thing for sure. But the match itself at Money in the Bank, I think I care more for the fact that, who's going to show up during that match rather than the actual match itself. Also, just an honest question too, apparently I heard that Jacob Fatu is not able to go to Canada because of his record. Apparently he does have a bad record on him a little bit with the police. That's why he can't go out of the country. So it kind of has you a little head scratcher wondering why did they debut him now? Or at least, I don't know. Why did they wait and have him be around so he could be a part of a show he can be a part of in SummerSlam? Just a random thing I'm going to throw out there. But yeah, other than that, not much more. We did have, of course, a tag title match also get set up for next week, which is A-Town Down Under versus DIY. Although, can I be honest with you? Tag team division is still kind of flat to me. Because we have not had either sets of tag titles, the World or WWE tag titles, be defended on pay-per-view since WrestleMania. That kind of makes me head scratch a little bit. The women's tag titles have had more pay-per-view matches than the men's, which, not saying that's sad, but still disappointing. I still feel they should have left the titles merged, if I'm being honest with you. Just saying. But let's roll in again. I don't have too much to really say about the show. Again, it was good. We had some progressive forward. It was nowhere close to being as good as what Raw was this past week, though. But the show opened up with talent arriving to the arena. And then we had the Bloodline roll up and get out of the car. Paul Heyman meets up with Solo Sikoa. And he asks, where's Jacob Fatu? Solo just slaps on his shoulder, and the group make their way to head out, as it was going to be the Acknowledgement anointing ceremony. That's what it's called? The Bloodline Acknowledgement ceremony, they were going to be calling it. Of course, they're all dressed up in their suits and whatnot. So they make their way out. But then as they're getting out and making their entrance, it shows the Tron again backstage where their opponents at Money in the Bank, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens, come out and they get ready for a fight. All 6 of them get out to the ring, well, on the stage, and then they started brawling, including a very nice spot where Kevin Owens takes out Tonga Loa with a senton through a table, which was a sick-looking spot. Nick Aldis, of course, brings out security to try to break it up, but of course it doesn't do anything good because Randy Orton decides to RKO the one security guard, and then the rest of them, just get beaten down. They cut a promo, basically tells the Bloodline that they're dumber than they look, and they said we're going to put the Bloodline down for good next week. And Cody sees 3 victims, and he sees one of the most dangerous men on the planet, Kevin Owens. He also sees a 14-time world champion and a first ballot Hall of Famer, who's also responsible for him standing here, Randy Orton. And also he sees a sold-out Madison Square Garden. And he talks about how he thought he finished the Bloodline WrestleMania. And he also called them, just a scene filler. He calls them a seat filler as well. Nick Aldis then comes back again with police. And then they just escort the babyfaces out of the building. Nick Aldis, of course, doesn't want to address it at the moment, as he was escorting the babyfaces out into their cars. The first Money in the Bank qualifying match was Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill and Candice LeRae. Match was fine. Mostly the story was the outside interference, because Nia Jax came out to support Tiffany Stratton, because the Queen has a princess as Tiffany Stratton, who's trying to lurch off of Nia Jax right now. We had Bianca Belair out there for Jade Cargill. And then Indy Hartwell showed up trying to help Candice LeRae, but I'm sorry. Unfortunately, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, they show up. It's like, okay, there's the weak links right there. So, I mean, she succeeded at first because she shoved Bianca into a post, but then it just didn't work out either way. And even though Indy Hartwell shoved them in there, it didn't do any good. They're basically just like jobbers at this point. I hate to say it. I mean, I know they're trying this heel direction with Candice LeRae, and it had some gas at the beginning with them and Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile, but ever since then, it's like, it just feels like that it's just barely at all staying above water. I don't really see it going anywhere, although it's set up a random tag match for them next week against Bianca and Jade, which Bianca and Jade will probably win, but based off the distractions, eventually, Tiffany Stratton was able to win by hitting the prettiest moonsault on Candice. I believe somehow they were able to get Jade Cargill out of the picture as well. So that happens. Naomi's backstage warming up with Bayley and Blair Davenport. They're still teasing the match with Naomi, and Blair Davenport was addressing that she's going to beat her in their Money in the Bank qualifying match later on in the show. Spoiler alert, though. Well, I'll just say it now. She didn't. Naomi won, which, fine, because I thought they would have given this to Blair. But then again, I'm like, this is Blair's first match on the main roster. They're going to let her win a qualifying match at her very first match and go to Money in the Bank immediately. I thought that was a little bit strange, but there are a lot of heels already in this match. Like, I think Lyra and Naomi are the only 2 faces so far in this Money in the Bank match. So, fine. They're probably going to do some sort of feud with Naomi and Blair afterwards, which is cool with me. We also have Mia Yim still wanting a piece of Nia Jax. I'm not entirely sure as to why. Because right now, I think, if I'm being honest, I think Mia's got to go heel with the rest of the OC. Because, she keeps getting asking for these opportunities, and she's not winning. So, why is she wanting another shot with Nia? Well, we know Nia's not going to be losing anytime soon, because she will probably be dethroning Bayley at SummerSlam, if I'm being honest. So, and also we have the Street Profits, who still want to get their revenge on the Bloodline, but Nick Aldis said, can't take any more chaos out of the Bloodline, so the match ain't happening. And then, for the first time in a while, we see the return of Pretty Deadly. Yes, boy! I didn't miss them. I like your theme song, but I did miss them. They pitched the idea of Pretty Deadly, the musical, yeah, which Montez Ford pitched the idea for him doing a match instead. So let's do the Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly, the Beatdown, which that match is made official next week, along with the women's tag match with Bianca and Jade versus Candice and Indy. Backstage, we have Paul Heyman with Solo Sikoa. Heyman tells Solo that Cody, KO, and Randy have been removed from MSG. And asks him as a wise man, what the hell are we doing tonight? And where's Jacob Fatu? Solo says he hears him, and he's his wise man, and he accepts that there's no point in having a wise man if you don't accept his advice. And so Jacob Fatu isn't here. And he's going to officially make Paul Heyman his wise man tonight. Put him to the test later on in the show. What does that mean? We'll see. We had the other men's qualifier match, which was a triple threat with Santos Escobar, Logan Paul, and L.A. Knight. Yeah! Before the match started, Logan Paul came out and cuts a promo. And he also brings a player from the Indiana Pacers. I can't remember who it was, but of course, Brooklyn or whichever basketball team it is. Not a fan of the Pacers. The match was fine, but the only noteworthy thing really was there was a player for the Nets. I can't remember, Nets or Knicks, one of the two, that was in the crowd. Basically came out to equalize LA Knight. It actually helped LA Knight get a roll-up victory on Logan Paul to get the win. We know Knight's not winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. We know Logan's going to cost him that when we get to Money in the Bank. But this is what I kind of like, though. And I mentioned this before, how, and I can't believe I'm saying giving Logan Paul again more credit, because again, I dislike him. But a good heel normally has like a strong suit and then gets a weakness. LA Knight gets an ally, kind of like the same way Logan Paul does. Logan's using his sources to get his his help. Now, of course, LA Knight's saying, okay, you play that game, I can play that game too. And he gets himself a basketball player of his own to help him out, equalize it. One of the people that the crowd actually likes, though. But yeah, LA Knight's going to Money in the Bank. He's definitely not winning, though. He definitely isn't. Logan Paul's going to cost him. That will set up their match at SummerSlam, which will be probably when LA Knight wins the United States Championship. Backstage, though, we have a segment with Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews talking about how happy they are that Santos Escobar lost. But then Carmelo Hayes rolls up and basically just brags about how he's going to win Money in the Bank and talk about all his catchphrases. This tag team with Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews is just so random, though. Like, yes, I know Baron Corbin's now a face, but they've not done much to him on the main roster. I'm glad to see they're trying to give Apollo something to do as well, but it's like, this feels like a Jobber Squad tag team thrown together. Like I said, like last week too, I hate how they've kind of made LWO feel like a Jobber Squad as well. So this is a very weak, low-card feud. I don't really see it doing much for anybody, but we'll see. We also had a video package on the Great Wild Samoan Sika Anyawai, father of Roman Reigns, who passed away this week as well. Thoughts and prayers for the Anyawai family as well, for Roman, for Jimmy, for Jay, for The Rock, or as, of course, Punk would say, your buddy Dwayne, and all the other Samoans as well. For this tough loss. I also got a hype reel from Andrade, who is in Money in the Bank. Again, as I said, Naomi did defeat Blair, Davenport, and Indy Hartwell to qualify for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have a backstage where DIY gets announced again a title match. They got into a wee bit of a scuffle with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Still teasing a breakup between those two, which will probably happen sometime after SummerSlam, I gotta say. Probably. Who knows? And And then we get the closing segment, which is the Bloodline coming back out, trying to get their acknowledgement ceremony, completed. So they come out. Paul Heyman comes out too. And he starts the introduction, but then Solo puts his hand out for the microphone, just like Roman always would. And Heyman gives him the microphone. Solo introduces to us the newest member of the Bloodline, his enforcer, the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. So he lied to Paul Heyman. Jacob Fatu was showing up for this. Solo asked MSG to acknowledge him. And of course, Paul Heyman's just obviously showing that Solo has just taken this way, way, way too far. He then asks Tama Tonga to step forward to acknowledge him. He does. Tonga Loa steps forward. He does. Then Jacob Fatu acknowledges him as well. Then we get to the big moment of the night. So, they turn to Paul Heyman, and Tonga Loa gets the Tribal Chief's layout. Solo then demands eye contact, and to give Solo the lay and acknowledge him as the Tribal Chief. Paul then obviously he knows that, this has gone on far enough, but, he knows if he does this, he's doomed. But he still goes through with it. He tells Solo that he loves him, and he acknowledges he is not his tribal chief, and throws down the lay, and we're like, uh-oh. And then Solo just gets the fire in his eyes. He grabs the Wiseman and hits him with a Samoan spike. And then Solo starts barking out orders. Jacob Fatu gets up and does a nice looking diving headbutt. And then they pull him out and they triple powerbomb Heyman through the announce table. And the show ends with Jacob Fatu, the enforcer of the new Bloodline, putting the lay on Solo, acknowledging him as the tribal chief. And they throw up the ones right above a defeated Paul Heyman. Ooh. The thing is now, knowing this, next time we see Paul Heyman, we will most likely see Roman Reigns. The crowd is already ready for him to come back. We're getting "We Want Roman" chants. Although, it's obvious they're about to turn Roman Reigns face. He's about to get the hopefully effective and successful babyface run, unlike the first one. We'll see how it goes. I don't think they should rush him into being a Superman type babyface again. I still think if it was me, Roman needs to be more so an anti-hero. And slowly, have it wear off on him. Because he's got a lot of things to fix. So first off, I'm pretty sure Roman is at some point going to want a shot to get his title back. I'm pretty sure also they're going to reunite him with Jimmy and Jade. Jimmy, even though it made no sense, he's fine with. Jay is not cool with either one of them. So again, that is a story that's going to set up for Survivor Series. Where again, I still think the Survivor Series match should be Roman, Jimmy and Jay, and The Rock versus Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. And that's the match where The Rock turns on Roman Reigns. And that's what sets up the match at WrestleMania. So, we'll see what happens. Will Paul Heyman show up with Money in the Bank? Will Roman show up with Money in the Bank? Like I said, I am more intrigued for that 6-man tag match, more so who could show up. I think we're going to either see Roman Reigns returning, The Rock is going to return, or again, I think that could be the match where if they're not going to do The Rock and Cody at SummerSlam, that will be the match where Randy Orton turns heel. and we'll set up Cody versus Randy at SummerSlam. But yeah, guys, that's something we kind of brief. That's what I thought on SmackDown again. Gave it a B. It did its job. Just wasn't like spit and fire like must-see TV. Well, the ending segment definitely for sure. But, it was a good show that did its job. We'll move on Money in the Bank. Like I said, this coming week, I am going to do my Money in the Bank preview and predictions. And, of course, a review after I watch Money in the Bank. Hopefully a few other things to come as well to the channel. Some live reactions, some other topic videos, and other stuff. Hopefully we'll get to that as well. So guys, what are your thoughts, again, on this week's episode of SmackDown? I gave it a B. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure also, as always, to slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well, the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm sorry. You may only follow me on TikTok right now. At the Club of the Man 1993. That's TikTok. Because again, Twitter and Instagram are currently inactive right now. But again, give me about another month. I'll probably be back. But we'll see. Like I said, I just had a little bit of a burnout from both of them. And again, I explained my other reasons why I took them down for the time being. But yeah, those will be coming back very soon. So guys, until then, I'm checking out. I'll catch you later. Have a great start to your week as well. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!